Welcome back to the Goonerverse, everyone. Arsenal beat Brentford 2-0. We're going to do the player ratings with your help. So you let me know in the comment section below as I go through each player, which you can see here. We will be doing our player ratings. Now, normally we talk tactics a little bit. I don't think there was too much tactically to talk about. There was a little bit. We'll go through that. Brentford rotated, Arsenal rotated, and Arsenal ultimately got a comfortable win and a needed win, a good response after the draw against Chelsea that many were very disappointed with. I wasn't over the moon with it. I said I probably was on the side of disappointment, but it was with the caveat of let's respond, let's build on it, and we'll look back at a point at the bridge pretty favourably anyway. So those are the 11s. We'll go through it in a bit more detail, but big thanks to everyone who's joining. We are doing these live streams after every Arsenal game. We try to do it as close to full time as possible. We get the match reaction out on Goonerverse News, which is out now. And then, of course, it sort of depends on the time of the day and things like that. But there will be a player ratings live stream for every Arsenal match. We're doing it in this brand new format with the JLA Tactics board, as you've seen. So, like I said, it's all about you guys playing a part in the show. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and you want to be kept up to date with everything we're doing. We've got the Goonerverse, we've got Goonerverse News, and of course, we've got these live streams for any big news and player ratings too. Big thanks to everyone who's in the comments. Some early comments coming in. Erdegaard, not bad. The hate is too 4, says Tedder. I agree. We'll talk about him in a bit. Alt to the 777 says White was too good today. But Kieran says Erdegaard was absolutely shocking. The team has outgrown Erdegaard. Interesting. Nathan says White for man of the match was a really positive performance from him and got a full 90. Andrew just saying 3 points, clean sheet, we move. And I agree with that as well. Okay, everyone. So, like I said, Arsenal rotated for this game. We're going to talk about that and we're going to go through the players in detail. But there were some interesting tactical things that we saw in this game. Now, where I want to start, let's just highlight. I think let's do two things. Firstly, let's highlight all the changes. So, one, I'm going to call this 2 because Timber had to come in and basically play most of the game at centre back. 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 changes to the 11. And that's the thing. It looked like such a rotated side, but in reality, it was only 4, actually 3, which is basically down all one channel over here. If, acknowledging Mosquera starting. So he's not changed that much, Mikel Arteta, going into the game. But I think what made it feel heavy was that basically 1, 2... Oh, no, there's David Raya. 1, 2, 3... I'm going to say 4, 5, 6, 7 players are probably not starting in Arsenal's best team. Now, Erdegaard I've forced in there to make a point. The reality it's probably 6, not 7. I think he does start in Arsenal's best midfield, if I'm honest. I do think he will be a part of our team in the long term for this season. But with Eze playing so well, look, he's been in and out, Eze, hasn't he? But essentially, he's been a part of this Arsenal team in that 10 space. As we've been on this great run in Erdegaard's absence, you could argue that potentially, Erdegaard doesn't start, but whatever. So that's, I think, what made it feel like such a rotated side and like, wow, we've really kind of changed quite heavily. But with Villa on the weekend, I think they just beat Brighton 4-3 away from 2-0 down. I can understand why they did that. Now, it made for some really interesting battles, actually, and some very interesting... performances in general. So let's get the team up the pitch. We managed to move the football with it. Move that there for a sec. We'll give it to Nkapie. I'll take Timber out of the team just for a second because I think it's important to acknowledge that Jurien Timber played so much of the game, so we'll do his rating alongside Mosquera's. But what I liked in this game was a couple things. Firstly, Calafiori and Martinez dynamic, and then the right-hand side in particular. Now, Mikel Merino is playing a floating role. Sometimes I wonder whether Mikel Arteta is actually just mocking us. Because Merino was popping up out here, was popping up deeper here, was going all over the place. In the way that we've criticised him for doing when he's playing in the 10, saying, why is he playing as a 10? He was playing all over the place, got the goal, got the assist, fair play, he's going to get a high rating for sure. Now, Erdegaard was playing in a role which actually allowed Arsenal to maraud a little bit like this up the pitch. So Ben White was getting high, closer to Madueke. And, if Nkapie is here with the ball, Mosquera a little bit deeper. Erdegaard was playing, I felt, deeper in build-up than Declan Rice, who was getting forward a lot more. We saw one moment where Declan Rice attacked this channel with the ball basically across the box, and then we saw another where he picks the ball up here and he drives and he gets a shot at goal. So he was in a more marauding... I mean, we've seen Declan Rice sort of bomb up and down the pitch, but it felt like these two sort of had license to basically drop but get further forward and make runs, and Erdegaard was kind of floating all over the place with Zubimendi, who wasn't making the runs that we've been analysing on the Goonerverse he normally makes. He was actually sitting a lot closer to Nkapé and Mosquera and basically constantly being an outlet and build-up. Every time he was that outball for players. I thought Zubimendi was class. I really thought he was great today. We're going to give him a high rating. Other things I liked, Calafiori goes wherever he wants, but when he moves, someone sits in, off he goes. Martinelli hugs the touchline. But I also really like this from Arsenal. How many times Martinelli was actually the one picking up the ball in this area of the pitch, getting into battles with Aya or Asia? I think it's Asia. How often he was picking up the ball in this central area, I thought was really good. There's a real kind of unique dynamic to the left-hand side. I know Trossard floats on the inside, but Trossard has been more picking out Calafiori on the underlap recently, but I really liked how often it was Martinelli actually sitting centrally, and what he was doing when receiving that ball to feet there, under pressure. I actually thought he was doing quite a good job of turning sort of away from defenders and opening up the game a little bit for us. So I enjoyed Martinelli's performance a lot. The other battle I liked was this. Henry and Madueke. I thought they had a great battle, those two. And basically, those two just constantly moved in tandem. Every time Madueke was running, let's give him the ball. There we go. Every time Madueke was running at goal, there was a really good battle with Henry. Sometimes they'd bring a centre-back over to cover. Sometimes Jensen would drop back, but it was a really, really good battle, and Ben White did a great job overlapping to ensure that them having a back five didn't really make too much of a difference. When that ball's given to White, it's actually a lovely little kind of back heel, isn't it, into Ben White. It makes the run about here. Merino attacks the box brilliantly. Ball's whipped into the box, and he heads it sort of into the ground and up into the roof of the net. I like that dynamic too from Arsenal. I thought it was really, really good. Let's refresh all this and get everyone back in position. Here it is. These are the two 11s. We've got Henry highlighted. And let's bring our subs into play as well. Bukayo Saka came on, Eberechi Eze came on, Jurien Timber came on, and Victor Gyökeres came on. I don't believe there was anyone else, but can correct me if I'm wrong. And like I said, we'll do Timber and Mosquera at the same time. Everyone get your ratings for David Raya as I go and get your comments in as well. Alt says, Madueke put himself in very dangerous positions, but no use comes of it. End product is a problem, I think, but I'm not worried about the player. Like, I think he's proving a very, very good player and someone we can definitely rely on to play some key minutes for us. Alt says, Chelsea's title challenge lasted 3 days. And do you know what? I'm going to, everyone send in your ratings for David Raya in the comments. I want to know, basically, out of 10, as we know, get in your ratings. Let me know what you think of how he did. And while you do that, I'm just going to talk on Chelsea for a second. And what I don't want to do is go too far, right? We go to Villa on the weekend. Who knows? Things can change quickly in football. But I was so frustrated, and I talked about this on Goonerverse News. I was so frustrated by the narrative around Chelsea after they drew with us, and the lack of criticism for them and the missed opportunity. And I was totally acknowledging of the fact that they ultimately had 10 men and fought. But I never understood why they got so much praise for ultimately missing a great opportunity to beat us when we were looking a bit vulnerable and not our best and a bit fragile. What could have been a 3-point gap only 24 hours ago had Caicedo stayed on the pitch, had Chelsea built on what was an okay, a good first half. It wasn't an amazing first half that everyone made out. I rewatched it and everyone was overreacting about that first half. But had they done that, they might have won the game, might be 3 points. Instead, they've now not taken advantage of the opportunity they had against Arsenal and gone and lost away at Leeds. And look, that's the Premier League. That can happen. It doesn't change how I feel about the good work Maresca's doing and the journey that Chelsea are on under him. I think they'll improve, continue to improve, and I think they've got some really good players. But I just found it incredible that no one wanted to do any more. Not no one, but like mainstream media didn't want to do anything in terms of critical analysis beyond Chelsea had 10 men, they fought really hard, fair play to them. I was like, really? Is that the only thing anyone saw from this? That's my take on it, but I won't really say much more. It's an Arsenal channel, but I just wanted to say that. Andrew says, no, we move on from Chelsea. They showed what they're about. Look, I just wanted to react because I normally I'd do a reaction to our rivals on Goonerverse News. So I thought I'd just give some thoughts on that. Okay, right. We're going to kind of power through these ratings, really. I don't think there's too much to say on every player. But with David Raya, look, a 9 from Yerzinho. Sally gives him an 8. Alt gives him a 7. 8 to 9. 9, 8 with an incredible save, says JJ Fam. I'm going to give him an 8. Kicking was pretty good. There was one moment we played what looked a really tricky pass into Zubimendi. I thought, oh, that was risky. But we got away with it. It was fine. His kicking largely was good. But that save was absolutely sensational. I mean, getting up the way he did and just getting enough fingertips to palm that onto the bar was absolutely superb. So, yeah, well done, David Raya. I thought he was really, really good. And that's what an 8's for. Like, you were great, basically. A 9 is, amazing. And a 10 is, like, perfect, basically. Alt says, James, when we win the league, we will get criticised. It's just the way things are with Arsenal. Arsenal can never do the right thing. Yeah, I agree. Okay, cool. Ben White. What are you all giving Ben White? Look, I've talked about him a little bit in terms of the overlap and what he offered there. I think for the assist and the all-round performance... Oh, this is tricky. Do you know what I find tricky about it? My praise for him is that I think he really unlocked the right-hand side. I talked about that at the beginning of the stream. It was a great cross and assist for Merino. Defensively, I thought he was absolutely fine, not worked at all. I did actually think he looked a little rusty in the final third at times in terms of crossing and finishing. There were moments where I thought, Benny Blanca, you'd get that right if fully fit and match fit. But it was really good to see him playing those minutes. He's an important player. He's someone who gives us something different, no question. I'm going to give... Yeah, see, you're all kind of... Some have said a 9. Some are saying 8. There's a 7.5. There's an 8. I'm actually going to agree and say an 8. I don't think he was quite a 9 for me. I don't think he was quite a 9. Like, well, fair play, getting 90 minutes in and playing to that level. But I just wouldn't quite give him a 9. But I thought he was very, very good. Just some moments in the final third, I think he could have done a little bit better. But a really good performance. I know Sky gave him man of the match, so fair play to him for that. Timber and Mosquera, let me know your ratings for both. I have to say, again, on rewatch of that Arsenal-Chelsea game, Mosquera and Nkapia were much better than I gave them credit for. Structurally, as a team, we weren't great against Chelsea. But individually, everyone stood up to the task. And I think Mosquera and Nkapia deserve major credit for that. Back-to-back Premier League games that we started without Gabriel and Saliba, our two starting centre-backs. And I think these two deserve real credit. Timber came in at centre-back and was great as well. And we know he could be brilliant there. I don't think he was ever going to move White to centre-back. But I do think, you're going to call me crazy, yeah? At one point, the back four was this. Let me just show you. At one point, the back four was this. White, Timber, and Capia Calafiori. I'd argue that if this were pre-season and Arteta was just testing things, I think he'd swap Calafiori and Nkapia and he'd swap Timber and White. I honestly think if this were pre-season, he would see Calafiori and White as his centre-backs. Now, I know it sounds crazy because I actually think Calafiori as a marauding left-back has been sensational. And we saw what Ben White can do. And I've mentioned that he's better going forward. But I actually think in terms of distribution from centre-back and giving us control, progressing in this area of the pitch, I think he would love those two, White and Calafiori. And Nkapier's got a really good cross on him. We've seen that more recently against Chelsea. Oh, that was silly. There we go. Oh, you can't undo that, right? Brilliant. Let's get the ratings back in. And Ben White, I think in the one-on-one duels with wingers, I think that's why he might see it differently another time. Anyway, we gave an 8 to Raya and we gave an 8 to Ben White. Let's just bring in Mosquera, moving back here. What are your ratings for him? Timber 7, Mosquera 8, 7 for both. Timber is so good. Timber Timber 7, not much to do. Timber 8, Mascara 7, Mascara 8. He's so forward-minded, always looking. Yeah, James, looking like a master villain. Okay, right, fair enough. Thank you. Ben White should be starting as right back. You are so much better going forward. Who do you support, Lee? Thank you for being in the comments. Nkapie and Mascara partnership is better than most centre partnerships in the Premier League right now. I agree with that. Okay, cool. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give them both. I'm going to both centre backs, all 3 centre backs. 7 for Mascara, 7 for Timber, and 7 for Nkapie. I don't think we need to say much more than that. I think, I think basically they all did very well. I don't think they worked too hard, but they dealt with what they had to deal with very well. Now I'm going to fly through a couple positions because I want to spend a lot of time talking about Merino and Zubimendi. I think, the title of this live stream is Merino our best 9. I think we should genuinely debate that in this live stream. So send me in. I know this is going to sound crazy. I've never really done this before. But send me in your ratings for Mikel Merino. I'm jumping through the team. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump through the team. Send me your ratings for Merino. And send me how you rank our strikers. Gyökeres, Havertz, Jesus, Merino. How do you rank them? Who's the best? Who should be Arsenal's leading 9? I really, really, really want to know what you think. By the way, on Calafiori, I won't say a lot, but I'm giving him an 8 as well. I thought he was absolutely magnificent today. That covers the back 4. So on Merino, Alt gives him a 9 for man of the match, an 8.5, 8.5. Okay, interesting. Gyökeres, Merino, Havertz, Jesus is how LW Circa has given him. Interesting. 8 from Merino, 9, 7. Quite a few ratings coming in there. 8.5. It is rating from a 7 to a 9. Ranging from a 7 to a 9, should I say. 7 besides the goal. He'll stop-start for him, but always gets a goal. Can't blame him. Cormac says, Gyökeres, Havertz, Merino, Jesus. Interesting. Do you know what? I'm going to tweet this out as well. Keep getting them in. Keep getting them in. I'm going to tweet this out and I'm going to see if I can get the results. Fully fit at their best. Who is Arsenal's best number 9? Discussing live on the Goonerverse now. Let's see what everyone's going to put. So we've got Gyökeres, Havertz, Jesus, Merino. At their very best. Cool. Posted. Let's see what everyone says. I'll check on that in a sec. Now, JJ Fam says Gyökeres, then Merino, then Havertz, then Jesus. Yozinho says Gyökeres is definitely our best striker. Fully fit, Jesus, Gyökeres, Merino, Havertz. Trossard is thrown in there, says Andrew. For our system, Jesus, Merino, Havertz, Gyökeres. Interesting. J Webb says Merino 5, awful apart from the goal. Okay, so here we go. So my rating for Merino is he got the assist for Saka, didn't he? Like he plays the ball forward. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to give him a 9 for his performance. But I'm going to caveat it slightly and say there was actually still quite a lot he did today that frustrated me. The reason he gets a 9 is because essentially without him we don't win this game. It's his finish and it's his pass to Saka that sees it out at the end. Like ultimately, if in a 2-0 win you've played a really smart pass to get the win at the very end and got the opening goal early into a game with a really brilliant header, you've got my respect. You've basically won us that game. I'd also go as far as to say that his work rate, his tackle, his commitment, his press is sensational. And that part of the game he does masterfully. My problem with Merino is I still think there are some loose passes. I still think there's some heavy touches. I still think there's a lack of link-up. Like I don't think the wingers benefit from Merino being up front massively. I don't think like Martin and Madueke play brilliantly because Merino's there kind of making it all tick. But I acknowledge that, and we can make this a little bit bigger, but I acknowledge that, you know, he's doing a really good job. And ultimately, I can't help but caveat everything I say about Merino with he's a midfielder playing up front doing a job. And so for that, you get extra credit. Like if we ask Gabby Jesus to just slot in at centre-back, and we were keeping clean sheets and he was making tackles. Even if he was getting the odd thing wrong, you'd say, but fair play, you're putting a massive shift in. We've just got quite used to him playing, you know, playing up front, that we've kind of forgot that he's not a striker. I agree with this from LW Circa as well. I think we play better with Gyökeres up front, and I agree. Like, I think the all-round. I know we were brilliant against Bayern. I know we were brilliant against Tottenham, and look, we played some good football today. But I think we stretch teams and go from back to front quicker. And personally, I just enjoy that style of football more. And I think we do that better when it's Gyökeres up front, personally, and even to a degree Kai Havertz. Sally says, yeah, but James, that's why he cost 35 million. He's an all-round good player. And I totally agree with that as well. Also agree with this from Jay Skizzy. He says, disgraceful dive from Merino. And like, I have to say, when he went down under the Caicedo challenge the other day, I thought to myself, oh, Merino, like, come on, like, stop trying to buy a foul here or whatever it is. But it was an awful tackle from Caicedo and I got it wrong and I'm very sorry. But he does have a tendency to go down and make a lot of it. And I did feel he could have kept that move alive and maybe helped us with a second goal there. He ultimately puts it wide as well from a Declan Rice shot that's saved by the keeper. But he's got the goal and he's got the assist. So for all the kind of things I'm slightly critical of, he's gone and won us that game. So he gets a 9 for me. And I have to keep saying he's not a striker. So it's an unbelievable shift he's putting in for us. I think that's 29 goals and assists in 2025 for club and country. Exceptional. Yeah, I think that's all I've got to really say on Mikel Merino, people. To answer the question, is he our best 9? Should we see what the poll's saying very early? I know it's not been very long, but they're not loading. Brilliant. Let's see if I can retweet and repost it as well. Sorry, thank you for being patient, people. Really good. We'll do this at the end of the stream. At the very end of the stream. I think it's Gyökeres, by the way. The votes are coming in. Cool. All right, let's see what people say soon. And we'll check that at the very end of the stream. Cool. If it's all right with you all, people, we've got 5 minutes left of the stream. So I'm going to fly through the rest of the players quite quickly, but I still want your thoughts, so let me know in the comments any you disagree with. Declan Rice, I'll give a 7 to. I thought he was very, very good. I thought he was very good. Zubimendi I thought was slightly better, and I give him an 8. And Ødegaard, this is tricky. Okay, I'll take it back. I'm going to give Rice an 8 as well. I'm going to give Zubimendi an 8. But I mean, like, it's an 8 plus. Like, I've never done this before, but let me just chuck that there. Like, I thought he was great. And I'm going to give Ødegaard a 7. I agree that the Ødegaard hate is a bit forced. I'll explain all these in a sec. Martinelli did fine. I'll give him a 7 too. Probably nearer a 6. And then Madueke, I'll give an 8. So I've never given an 8 plus before. But the reason I've done it is basically because ultimately I don't think anyone was like sensational today. I don't think we got an Eze hat-trick type of moment from anyone, a Declan Rice versus Bayern Munich performance from anyone. I don't think we had anything like that. Saka at Fulham, there was Gyökeres against Burnley. I don't think we had that kind of standout performance. Merino gets a 9, where his overall game was probably a 6 or a 7, but he gets a 9 because of the goal and the assist. Martinelli, I thought was fine. I liked the areas he picked up the ball in. Thought he did okay. He's probably a 7 minus. He's probably nearer a 6 if I'm really honest, but feeling generous after we got the win. Now, Ødegaard, some people say Ødegaard, that's harsh on him. I think Ødegaard actually did some really nice things tonight. I like the way he was floating in different areas of the pitch. We talked about that at the beginning of the live stream. I like the way he was involved in all phases of the game. I like the way he was actually trying things. And I know that sounds like a silly thing to give him credit for, but I actually thought he was trying to make things happen constantly. I felt he was getting on the ball regularly, trying like little back heels, trying balls over the top. Played a lovely cutting pass a few times to Calafiori, where Calafiori burst forward when he got the second goal because of Ødegaard making things happen. And on his first start back, I thought that was actually a very solid game. Actually, more than solid. I thought he was good. I am tempted to bring Erdegaard and Martinelli. Do you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm being so scrappy, but I'm actually going to do it. I thought he was good, and I stand by everything I've said there. But I'm going to give him a 6. I'm going to give Rice a 7. I do think Zubimendi was better than him, but I thought Rice was very good, and I'm going to give Martinelli a 6. I'm okay with that. I'm at peace with that. I wish there was like an eraser tool, but there isn't. So there we go. A little bit messy, people, but there we go. That's what I'm giving them. Because I just think Erdegaard and Martinelli were good, pretty good. They did some nice things, and I think haters forced, but there were others who were, I think, better on the day in, whether it be wide players or midfielders that we can compare them to in terms of things that they made happen. So I'm going to stick with that. I'll do subs in a sec, very quickly. Boris says very high marks for the game, which almost ended 1-1. Yeah, but Boris, it didn't almost end 1-1, did it? Like, Brentford had one shot tipped onto the crossbar. Otherwise, we had nothing to do. It's because it was 1-0 for so long that we felt nervous. Otherwise, Arsenal were valued for 3-4 goals on the night. Even 6 as generous as AFC DN8. Sully agrees that my new ratings are a little bit better now that I've made the changes. He kept killing moves and giving the ball away while consistently calling for it, says Sully. Saka 7. Yeah, we'll talk about him. Martinelli 7 out of 10. Are you joking? He was trash. 0 out of 10. Yeah, I brought him down to a 6, but I don't think he was trash. That's really harsh. James, how you giving Martinelli 7? He was trash. Completely disagree. Odegaard 5. We expect so much from him. Yeah, look, I just think I think he was better than people are giving them credit for. Odegaard 7. He was shite. What are you on about? Says Big Kaiser. Well, that's why I invite you all to let me know in the comments. I think they did good things personally. I genuinely did. Thank you for the super chats. We're going to get to those in a sec. Let's just quickly end with the subs. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to put them here. Don't think there's any need to get them into their positions. We've done Timber. I'm going to give... let's move these Brentford players in a little bit. Eze. I quite liked Eze's cameo. I'll give him a 6. I thought he did some really neat stuff. Gyökeres 5. Didn't see him. There was one chest down, and there was one time where we just lumped the ball forward to me, took it down with his chest, rolled it back, but can't really say I saw much else. Saka, it's a 7 because he got the goal that made it 2-0, but he was frustrating me, if I'm honest. There were some frustrating moments from Bukayo Saka. But that speaks to what you expect. Did he have more frustrating moments than Erdegaard? No. But Erdegaard, first game back, I sort of give you that grace a little bit more. Whereas Saka, I'm expecting him to be sort of a lot more up to speed. Eze was a 6, says JT Billionaire. Sally says, Eze 6, Gyökeres 5, Saka 8. Eze was trying stuff, but it largely wasn't popping off, says J Killer. I agree. Yeah, cool. All right. Neo Semper, Gyökeres 10. He occupied the centre backs. Well played. At AMSN says, James, please don't overrate the performance just because we won the game. Martin was trash. Just say it as it is. Let me say something, AMSN. I have no problem with people disagreeing with my ratings or thinking something different. No problem whatsoever. That is so fine. But don't ever say, just say it as it is, because I am genuinely saying it as it is. To me, it's just my opinion. I thought Martinelli was... I gave him a 7, that was too much. Probably a 5, maybe a 6. I gave him a 6 because I generally thought he was doing some actually pretty good stuff in terms of receiving in the pockets, moving the ball out to people. It didn't really happen for him in the final third, but I thought he did okay. In fact, I think he did a bit better than okay. I think he was pretty good on the day. When you include work rate, things like that, I was quite happy with what he did. That's how I saw it. If he was worse, that's fine. That's why we do these, so you can give me your opinions as well. But yeah, I genuinely think we were good against Brentford today, who've had some big results against some big teams, and largely we limited them to very little and got a comfortable 2-0 win while rotating. For that, Mikel Arteta gets a 7 out of 10 today. I think he did well with, actually an 8. I'll give Arteta an 8 for rotating and getting ultimately that level of performance out of the team. So yeah, I'm happy. All right, so should we see how the poll is done? Okay. Whoa. 37% of people think that at their very best, Havertz is our best striker, with 33% Gyökeres, 19% Merino, and 11% Jesus. But that could change drastically. So we will keep an eye on it over the coming James. Cool. Right. I think that's pretty much it. Suj, good to see you in the comments. Hope you're well. Says, big up, James. It was a performance we needed after Chelsea. I would have taken Rice earlier and summed on Gyökeres. Hincapié was quality. Hincapié was very good. And he probably deserves an 8 rather than a 7. I could probably go back. You know what? Let's do it. Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. Let's make that an 8. Happy to bump Hincapié up a little bit. All right. I think we'll leave those there. Mr. Holiday says, Marino's our best 9. I believe his best role in the squad is a backup striker, and 8. Rice can't play every game. We have 2 other decent strikers. GST Tuning sends super chat as well. To GTS Tuning, Mr. Holiday, and Suj, a huge, huge, huge thank you for your super chats. I really appreciate it. Going to round it off there, people. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel. And yeah, I'll be back, like I said, after every game. And we will be doing these player ratings after every game. This was one of those where I think the player ratings were tricky. Arsenal weren't scintillating and amazing, but they got a good result against Brentford. I think we're all going to differ on what was like a 6 or a 7, what was an 8 or a 9, what was, you know. But the point is, Arsenal got the win and responded very, very well, where other teams didn't. Catch you in a bit.